Proposition 6, infrastructure, $13.5 million. What is the League of Women Voters? We're a 151-year-old nonpartisan nonprofit organization. We advocate for issues, but not for candidates or politicians. What is this tax? This tax would start April 1st, 2022. What's on the ballot? 14 propositions have been proposed in 4 broad categories. Each must receive a majority of votes to be approved. Who's presenting? Dr. Mark Rinne from the Cheyenne City Council and Gunnar Malm from the Laramie County Commission. Welcome, I'm Rosalind Shalisky, Secretary of the Cheyenne League of Women Voters. Assisting is our Zoom master, Dr. Karen Meister Emmerich, Vice President of the Cheyenne League. Along with her members, we thank you for your interest in the election for the Laramie County 1% Specific Purpose Sales and Use Tax, also known as the 6-penny tax. Well, this tax is got lots of moving parts to it. I'm going to start with you, Gunnar, on the Eastern Laramie County Solid Waste Disposal District landfill equipment. It's a mouthful. Tell us about it.
Certainly. So this is under the infrastructure category. So we tackle a lot of the needs of our small communities that can't be addressed through general fund expenditures just because they don't have the revenues. So this first one is for the Eastern Laramie County Solid Waste Disposal District to purchase some new equipment, some new bulldozers and associated equipment to really operate the dump that is out there just east of Burns. That services Pine Bluffs, Albin, and Burns, as well as many of our rural private contractors that deal in trash and garbage hauling. And so this is just an upgrade to equipment. Everybody knows you got to upgrade your equipment every couple of years as it becomes antiquated, and those machines do get a ton of hours on them. 8 hours a day, 5 days a week at least. So.
Okay. And Mark, then there's a $3 million project for the Cheyenne Cemetery irrigation project. Now, is this what we call Lakeview Cemetery? Is that what we're talking about? Or
I don't think so. I think it's city cemetery across the street, but I know the system's 50 years old. It requires a lot of upkeep, a lot of man hours. It wastes water, wastes our time and money because we're always having to repair it. So we would like to upgrade that system so that we have a new automated system that's more efficient, less expensive to maintain, and also saves on water usage.
Okay. Gunnar, there's 5 or so Burns projects. Can you take those first?
Certainly. So number 3 is for the town of Burns for remodeling, repair, and operation of town-owned buildings. This is for their town hall, the community center, obviously pieces of their infrastructure that are already there. And I'll skip ahead a little bit to a discussion that we'll have later on in terms of what's infrastructure and what's community enhancement. You'll see later we have greenway upkeep and maintenance. So if it's already an asset that the government owns, we believe that upkeep on that is an actual infrastructure cost because it's built, it needs maintained to protect that investment. Additions to a city, town, or county in a community enhancement type way would be, the building of new things that would fall under the community enhancement. So this is just regular maintenance on the existing facilities that they have, as well as $600,000 to upgrade and maintain some of their streets, $170,000 to purchase a new dump truck, $175,000 to purchase a new backhoe, $500,000 for town-owned paved street repair and maintenance. Additionally, $800,000 to the town of Burns for maintenance and construction of the town-owned water and sewer systems. They have very, small wastewater treatment facilities that they operate within their own boundaries. as well as well systems that they pump out of in water towers. And those obviously need maintenance. 1.85 or 1.185 million to the town of Pine Bluffs for road resurfacing. Again, these are costs that these small communities can't just bear upon their own, just based upon general revenues. They don't have the sales tax base, they don't have the property tax base to maintain their community at the level that is needed. So the 6 penny is very vital for that. 1.26 million, we've mentioned in other videos. This is to provide a sewer lift station for the town of Pine Bluffs to grow north of the railroad tracks. So this would be the wastewater component of that growth, and this will allow them to pump the sewage from the north development basically uphill back towards the bluffs. And then we have, I guess that's all for.
Okay, for right now, yeah. And Mark, tell us about the airport parking lot.
Well, this is the Airport Board and Craft, which is the organization that supports the airport and works with getting air service into Cheyenne. Before we had, as we all know, the airport has been shut down because of the main runway reconstruction, but we're hoping that'll be completed where I'll be up and going by sometime next spring or summer. And when we were using it, it had been very successful. It was actually had enough employments that we got our federal dollars back that we lost over time. And the parking lot was pretty much stretched to its limit. They were using overflow parking adjacent to the paved parking lot, just parking out in the grass or the gravel. And so the purpose of this is to expand the parking lot to accommodate what we were seeing before the airport reconstruction and what we're hoping we will see again in the future. And it's actually this is even though Gunnar gave me the opportunity to speak on it, it's a joint city-county project because it's the Laramie County City of Cheyenne Airport.
And is this directly south of the existing airport then?
I think that's where it's supposed to go, Roz.
Okay, all right. And then the next one, Mark, is as I read this sounded like master planning. Am I right?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
There was lots of words there, but that was my takeaway, that it was 2.5 million for the municipal building master planning.
The current city building is dated. I think it's 40 some years old. It was built before we had computers. It was built before ADA compliance was required. It's just, and we've had to do some extensive remodeling through the time. We've had to spend some monies, a couple million recently, on getting the roof repaired. It just needs a lot of work, and it's not exactly suited to how government is done these days. A good example is if you want a building permit, you have to go up to the second or third floor. I think it's second floor, but and we've tried to implement some security issues so people just aren't wandering all over the building. We've had that happen at times in the past where homeless people have wandered through, or so it hasn't been very secure. It has some issues with the roof. As I said, it was built before computers, so it's not done very well for today's electronic age. And we've had some MPO has moved out. Police department has been out, but and the fire department has now moved out. So, or their headquarters team has moved out. So it's just what we want to do is study the building, come up with a design that makes it more efficient for what we have there currently, makes it more efficient for public use, makes it more efficient for the electronic uses that we require of government today, and makes it ADA compliant. And so we can't do that without some kind of plan and survey and design. And that's what this is to at least get started on that so we can go about improving and making it more serviceable to the public.
Ross, could I? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can you, where does the Civic Center fit in with that?
That's an entirely separate project.
Okay. So it won't be part of the
The
master plan?
The city rec and events has already done some extensive planning for the civic center and has plans for upgrades on that.
Okay, all right, Marguerite.
Yes, sorry about that, but thanks, Roz. And so, Mark, I was reading a little bit about this project, redoing the municipal building, and it seems like you will, I think, face the issue, and maybe it's involved in this stage too, of whether you will try to redo the building piece by piece without vacating it, or whether just to move out entirely to speed things up and make things easier. When will that be decided, and is that going to be included in this part of the work?
No, I think once we have, Marguerite, once we have the design and we know what needs done, maybe who needs to be relocated where, that's probably when we would make the decision. Do we do like the state did with the their build, with the Hirschler building, and move everybody out while the whole thing is redone, or can we do it in phases and just shuffle people around? So until we know what that end product is going to look like, I don't think we can make that decision.
Okay, thank you. And Gunnar, we have 2 more projects for Albin, and then also a Clear Creek Park infrastructure. I don't know what that is, so tell us about it.
Yeah, definitely. And first, I'm recovering a little bit as somebody approaching 40 to hear that I'm almost outdated, as Dr. Rinne put it. I'm just coping, so give me a second.
Okay, all right. We're flowing.
So number 13 for the 1.72 million, or 1,072,000, Laramie County owns approximately 1 park, and it is Clear Creek Park out on the west end of town. You'll note it is the one with the yellow caboose that sits out there across from a lot of storage facilities, out kind of by the car dealerships, just south of the railroad tracks. I apologize. And so this is to complete some infrastructure work that we had begun out there in terms of bathrooms and facilities, and really just kind of finishing out that project for their infrastructure needs, so we can get it done. It was proposed in 3 phases, and this is basically the last 2 phases, the infrastructure for that, and just taking it in one big bite. So I think that's a good project, as Laramie County's one true park. And it gets a lot of use. You know, we have a lot of groups out there, and so making sure it's a good facility with all the proper amenities and proper facilities is important. Then we have $440,000 to the town of Albin to update their equipment. Obviously, small towns, they have garbage trucks too. They have snow plows. They have things that they need to make sure that people can get in and around town, can deal with refuse and garbage. And so this is to upgrade some of their equipment that is obviously becoming outdated. Number 15, the $60,000. This is their community center. And you know, when you talk about a community center in a town like Albin, it really is the heart of their town. It's where their town meetings are. It is where basketball games are for youth sports. It is the place that people meet on the weekends. It's where funerals occur, weddings occur, everything. And they just need some upgrades in terms of their heaters and glass replacement to make it a more efficient space. And so that's just a small amount of money there to really help that space continue to be the heart of the town. Thank
you. League members, anyone else with questions? Okay. Gunnar and Mark, thank you so much on behalf of the Cheyenne League of Women Voters for providing such valuable information. And finally, to our Laramie County voters, remember your vote is your voice. Use it. When is Election Day? It's Tuesday, November 2nd. When is early voting? Well, it's already started, and it will continue through November 1st. How to vote by absentee ballot? You can request a ballot from the county clerk, but you better do it soon because it'll take 7 to 10 days for your ballot to arrive and another 7 to 10 days for it to be received by mail. But you could drop off that absentee ballot at the clerk's office or in the drop box on Cary Avenue. Is an ID required? it is now. Wyoming law requires an ID for in-person voting on election day or during early voting. And here are the IDs that are accepted. Your vote is your voice. Use it.